Welcome to Prepper Talk Radio. It is a beautiful Wednesday morning with a little bit of overcast and a lot of drivers on the road.
Crazy. 60 degrees on Sunday, and then freezing snow, blizzard, and then 20 degrees warmer today.
And it'll be 65 by Saturday.
Crazy.
I'm excited. We are Prepper Talk Radio. We're excited to be here every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Brought to you by Survival Medical. They are the toughest first aid kit I've ever seen, and the coolest thing is their first aid evolved. Everything lasts longer. It's well thought out based on the activity and based on the type of event you're going to go to. You got first aid kits designed for anything, and they're waterproof, so that works great in Utah.
Yeah, I think it's something that just really hasn't been thought of much before. Is okay. We want to stock up on supplies.
Yep.
But I hate to waste. I hate things to be worn out or
every time you throw something out that's gone bad.
Yeah,
like
you spent good money on it.
Freezer food.
There you go.
Freezer food goes bad. I don't understand why people put so much money into freezer
and then
food.
In the back of your freezer, you got all this bad. Like, okay,
I'm
guilty. Throw that away.
I just had to throw some chicken away that was just destroyed.
Exactly. I mean, so why do that with your first aid? I mean,
exactly.
Buy this, stick it in your food along with your food storage, stick it in your car, and it's always going to be good. You don't have to throw it away.
Well, we're excited. We've got a special guest here today, Jake, sometimes known as Jake the Snake Garn, from Stand Up Commentary, former K-Talk, probably one of my favorite shows that's been here, and he had to part due to artistic differences. We'll say that. Welcome back to the station, buddy.
We've missed your voice.
Thanks for having me on. Bright and early. You gave me an excuse to get up this fine Wednesday morning.
He was telling me he's not a morning person.
No.
Thank you for your sacrifice.
Hey, you're welcome. I'm glad you recognize the turmoil. I had to eat one of my passengers on the way here. I didn't know what was open in the morning.
Oh, man. Hopefully your passengers were gummy bears or something.
That's a hard decision for me, too. What to eat in the morning?
I know.
That is banana, some water. I don't know.
See, lately I've been doing a lot of cottage cheese breakfasts.
Yeah. Pineapple.
Little pineapple, little fruit.
Ooh, with pears, canned pears, and cottage cheese.
There you go. Yeah, I've done that.
So good.
And
then put some cheese on it.
What? You already have cheese.
It's cottage cheese.
Sprinkle some other American cheese on it.
Oh.
American cheese.
American cheese?
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
Like the sliced cheese?
Okay, cheddar.
Cheddar.
Okay, cheddar. You can do cheddar.
Yeah, no American cheese for me, please. So we've got a fun show today, but before we jump into it, I want to remind you guys, we've got PrepperCon coming up. We're going to be there. K-Talk's going to be broadcasting live from the event. It's April 21st and 22nd at the Southtown Expo Center.
We are hijacking the airwaves
now
for 2 days.
If you have any concerns about where the world's going or what's going on or how to better prepare your family and your life, you need to be at PrepperCon. I cannot push this message enough.
If you don't have concerns, I'm concerned for you.
Well, I think the big thing is most of us want to be concerned, want to be prepared for some things, and they just don't know where to start. And that's the thing about PrepperCon is it was designed to bridge that gap. I've had some of the lifelong preppers I've talked to are like, oh, dude, it's fun, but there's no classes for me there. And I'm like, well, that's not for you. It's to get people there, to get people learning, to get people's minds open. You know, there are classes there for the advanced guys, and man, they're really good. But it's not the whole event.
Right.
The whole event is really for your first 50% of your process in becoming a prepper. And one of the things is really the practicality of going back to the basics. People forget that. Mm-hmm. They get too excited about this new tool they got, and they focus all their energy and time in that. They've forgotten, oh, yeah, I need water storage. So come to PrepperCon. It's 11 a.m. till 10 p.m. on Friday, 9 a.m. till 8 p.m. on Saturday. And you can get discount tickets through PrepperCon.com. So
April 21st and 22nd, and that's coming up real quick.
We got like 44 days.
Wow.
So it's right around the corner.
My first year PrepperCon was last year, and here's my biggest thing. Here's what you need to make sure people know, is the amount of weapons there being shown. Amazing weapons, like firearms, knives, ninja tools, along with beer. They also sell beer. I've never seen beer and weapons in such proximity.
Possibly at the convenience.
Yeah, the Southtown Expo Center sells beer.
I didn't realize.
You guys aren't selling it.
No,
we don't have.
But
yeah,
the Expo Center sells it. Yeah. Fun note.
Well, but those firearms are unloaded.
Everything's safety checked, and we have security there. But we also have our knife fighting tournament coming back this year.
What? No.
Knife fighting tournament.
A knife fighting
I want to see you
tournament?
in there, Jake. Learning some knife fighting skills.
See, you guys didn't emphasize this enough last time. I had no idea. I was so excited to see all the...
Well, we've got, so there's Prepper Fash, which is the fiasco of fun. Everything from practical to tactical, anything you can wear. And that gets a ton of media attention.
Come and photograph that.
The fashion wear?
Since you're a fashion
Prepper
photographer,
Fash.
come
It's
photograph
awesome.
it.
And then we
Prepper
have
Fash.
the knife fighting tournament. We have, we're working on a rock wall. Those are always fun to have. It's good for the kids. We've got the hurricane simulator. Did you try that last year?
I didn't try the hurricane simulator.
We got to throw you in that this year.
Definitely. And get it on video, too.
The record right now is 148 miles an hour, and that's Dan Farr from Comic-Con.
That's crazy.
Oh, Dan Farr.
He and his son, they withstood the longest. And his kid was funny because he's like, okay, I'm done. And his dad's like, hold on. And he's like, keep going up. Faster. And the kid's like, I don't want to go. And they push it up. And he's like, okay, that was cool. The little kid's like, yeah, I'm the fastest. I have the record. It was awesome.
See, I had no idea there was this much turmoil there. I love it.
Well, there's much more than that. There's
that's
more, believe me.
That's the tip of the iceberg, my friend. That's the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, I'm loving this. And I think here's one thing the prepper con industry, do we call that? The prepper industry needs more. Is we need more more emphasis on prepper missionary work. You know what I mean?
Yes, we talked a little bit about that last week.
Yeah?
Yeah,
prepper, you were talking about the event, the preppers that I know everything. It's like, well, bring your friends to this event. This is the time to do your missionary work as preppers.
That's right.
Well, that's why we created it. We wanted this to be the event that you bring your family to, you bring your friends to, you help them understand the importance of this, because our goal, our mission is to create prepared communities. And to do that, we've got to start with the family. If we create prepared families, we create prepared communities. And now you don't have to worry.
Yeah,
because you can rebuild, you can take care of things you need to take care of. You're going to survive whatever could come. And that's the beauty of it, is it takes a community. A lot of people think, oh, lone wolf, I'm going to do this all by myself. They're the ones that are going to die. Mm-hmm. But if you focus on a community, you're going to be fine.
But it's also a very difficult aspect of prepping is that community and getting along with your community and your neighbors and ensuring that they're prepared. That's not easy. So definitely come, learn how.
Yeah, because see, if you're the only prepared one in your community, you're a liability now. Like you got to have a lot of ammunition to defend your loot. You know what I mean?
That's where my brain goes first. Okay, how do I defend this? Rather than saying, okay, how do I help these people? I just can't have enough stuff for all my neighbors, right?
Yeah.
So what do? You shoot them, right?
Well, you build autonomous droids. Wow, calm down.
That's why you have the knife fighting tournaments, right?
Exactly.
How to defend yourself with firearms as well as hand-to-hand combat.
Well, our goal is simple. It's just to help people be better prepared, right? And to have a whole heck of a lot of fun doing it, because there's a lot of, I guess you could say, misconceptions around preparedness. Mm-hmm. People think you're crazy if you do it. It's common sense, you know.
It really is.
If you go on a road trip, do a safety inspection on your car, check everything, make sure it's good. Put a kit in there so you've got extra food, water, and resources in case you break down. That's just common sense.
Wait, did you just say put a kid in there so you have extra food?
A kit.
A kid! Kit!
Put a kid in there, you know.
An emergency kit. Not a kid. Put a kid in there if you have kids and you're taking them on the trip. Otherwise, drop them off at grandma and grandpa's.
Okay.
Put the car seats in there.
Glad we clarified.
Yeah. Well, you're still thinking about eating somebody for breakfast. That's weird.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, my idea of emergency preparedness is a map of the neighbors with medium to large size pets in a Chinese cookbook. Like, that's emergency preparedness.
I think that's the first time I've heard
add that
one.
to my list there, the Chinese cookbook.
So okay, that actually breaks into the conversation. So what is your whole take on preparedness then?
So my whole take on preparedness.
Yeah. Or do you think us preppers, are we crazy? Or tell us. We want to hear from you. That's why you're here.
Oh, okay. Well, no, some of you are crazy. Just like any subset of people, some of them are crazy, right?
Right.
And I think the crazy ones give everyone else kind of a, you know what I mean? It's like Ron Paul. Like, I like Ron Paul, but thanks to crazy people, I'm not allowed to tell people I like Ron Paul. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get it.
Well, it's funny because it's just like the TV show Doomsday Preppers. That showcases, and they tweak it quite a bit, but that showcased kind of the top 2 to 3% of the crazy ideas in preparedness. And so everyone thinks, well, that's just commonplace. That's what they all think. That's how they all behave. And that's not even close. to what the typical prepper is about.
Even most of the preppers we've talked to have been on the show. They're like, yeah, they make it over the top. They make us seem like we're crazy. And if you really, watch the show and look at the end conclusion, they say, oh, well, what this guy is preparing for really isn't likely, and the government says this and that, and so they kind of shame him at the end, right?
Right.
It's a joke.
I think they're doing two things. One, they're trying to shame him. Two, they're trying to make everybody not prepare. Make everybody not worry.
Well, the government says you should only need to have 3 days worth of food or this and that, and then we'll come take care of you.
Well, and we know that the government changed that recently.
To what?
To 4 days.
Ooh,
they want an extra
96 hours.
4 days.
96 hours. FEMA has said it's 96 hours now. So they've been reading my blog that I've been telling people for years. You need at minimum a 96-hour kit for two people, not kit. And here's the thing: that's not even remotely near enough. Yeah. It took how long for FEMA and Red Cross to show up after Katrina?
Like 2 weeks. Even to
2 weeks
water.
for Red Cross, 3 weeks for FEMA.
It was the wild west.
That 96-hour kit's not enough unless you've got some amazing water filters like Sawyer. LifeStraw's good. Berkey's great. Yeah. One of the ones I really am looking at right now is the Survival Still.
Okay, yeah.
Because then I can go up to the Great Salt Lake and purify that and be like, all right, no more brine shrimp, more.
You're distilling.
You can
distilling the water and getting purified water rather than, and that way it eliminates all the giardia, all the bugs, as well as the salt.
Gets it all out. Yeah. So I'm gonna be testing that out here in the next few weeks. So it'll be fun. We'll have to bring you over and we'll
get me one. I want to try it.
We'll see what we can do. So, but it all comes back to the basic premises of preparedness, of logic. To me, preparedness is logic, right? If something bad happens, I can only look to myself to fix it unless I know someone that has the resources that's willing to help me.
Which your mom and dad aren't going to take care of you?
Right. It's like, okay, high school, gym class, wood shop. I remember in wood shop, there was this thing, this big, huge placard on the wall. It says, your mom does not work here. Clean up your own damn mess. And that was there all the time. Well, then they ripped that out. They ripped out the wood shop and the auto shop at our school. I'm like, what? Those are the best classes. Mm-hmm. And they replaced it with a new gym, weights and everything else. But they left that sign up, and I always thought it was funny because I'm like, we don't get to make a mess here. We're sweating. Like, that's it. But it goes back to you are responsible for yourself. The government is not responsible for you. It is not their job to take care of you. Some people think it is.
The government wants us to think it is.
Exactly.
But then they'll also tell you it's not our job. So then who do we go to if not ourselves?
Okay, Jake, say it.
So who do you go to?
Who do I go to?
Besides your neighbors with large dogs and a Chinese cookbook.
Taco Bell. Is Taco Bell going to be open during this emergency? I always wonder. Do they all close? What happens?
They may run short on the steak, and they may have to substitute dog. I don't know.
No, I am a material girl in a material world, and I am addicted to this world. I'm addicted to the national supply chain. Yep. I'm addicted to the grid. I'd love to go off grid, but I'm addicted to it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I feel like I don't smoke cigarettes, but I feel like I'm addicted to the world.
But I have not seen you on a smartphone this morning.
Well, I'm not smart enough for that kind of
No, I think that's cool. I haven't seen you check your Facebook or anything like that.
Well, my wife's wondering what the problem is because
where is I can't get hold of him.
Well, I think the funny thing is you're bringing up the point that a lot of us suffer from that. We have these simple solutions that are so ingrained in how we process and how we live that it's really easy for us to forget about them and to just completely move along on this conveyor belt of life thinking, oh, okay, here's what I do now. Mm-hmm. I'm hungry, pull into Taco Bell, pull into Burger King, pull into whatever else. Everything is so on demand that any hiccup is going to throw us off like crazy. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be right back. You're listening to Prepper Talk Radio, brought to you by Survival Medical. Survival-medical.com. First Aid Evolved. Welcome back to Prepper Talk Radio on this wonderful Wednesday. We've got our in-studio guest, Jake Garn.
Hello.
We just missed your voice so much. We wanted to have you in here, and
You know, I've missed this studio. It's bringing back memories from 2016. Those were the good old days.
It's been
Before
like
all the
6 months,
celebrities,
hasn't it?
the so-called important celebrities died.
Yeah, and pre-Trump. I like to say pre-Trump.
Okay, there we
We're
go.
going to have a new calendar system. We used to have BC and AD. It's going to be
No, it's pre-Trump.
BT and AT.
Oh, wow.
Okay, and what does that signify, though? Okay, that could be post and pre-apocalypse. I mean, we're in the apocalypse now.
Well, today's shenanigans are brought to you by Survival Medical. That's survival-medical.com. They're our show sponsor, and we just can't thank them enough for helping us keep this show going here at K-Talk. Check them out, survival-medical.com. They've got a kit for everything you need. And follow them on Facebook. They've got some really cool product videos coming out to help you understand what you're getting into and how to use it.
Yeah, Jake.
They're
Get yourself a first aid kit.
They have. I do need one because I used up all my last one.
Good.
And you
What
know,
for?
they are to be used, right? But
Yeah,
every
absolutely.
time I've seen the survival medical kits, they're the ones in the bins, right?
So they've got the buckets, and then they've got the Mylar bag system.
Yeah, they're so nice. Like I was looking at them, and they're all wrapped nice. They'll store forever. And I was thinking to myself, the only problem with getting a first aid kit that just is this well put together is like. You know,
wanna
it's
take it
like, is
apart.
this injury worth it? You know?
I'll survive a little longer. I'm not
It's
over
just
first
my
aid
arm. I could get another one.
Walk it off.
I totally relate to you. That's I don't want to open it. It's too nice.
Oh, that's funny. Well, okay. Let's go back to our conversation right before we jumped into the break. We started talking about this addiction to the grid.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
The addiction to the on-demand life.
Oh, yeah.
And you posed a question while we were on the break. What was it again?
So you said the scenarios of where the grid's no longer working.
Okay.
Where we lose our addiction, where we're forced to wean ourselves off of this addiction we have. I mean, so many addictions.
Yeah.
So many.
It's brought on. You had to go cold turkey, and I was like thinking,
Yeah.
let's brainstorm the top 3 scenarios that would force us to go cold turkey from the grid.
Okay.
Top 3.
I want to hear. I want to hear exactly what you've got. I know what my top 3.
Well,
are.
what are your top 3?
Okay.
Okay.
Number 1,
Okay.
financial collapse
Financial collapse
Number 1.
brought upon by bank failure or
by too much debt.
too much
lending.
debt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So it'll bring about a
Reckless
crash.
lending,
Let's talk about how that would work, right? So the bank debt issue would bring about a crash. You know, hyperinflation, devaluation.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, there's no more money left, right?
Money doesn't work.
Money doesn't work. Now, what happens, Shane?
What doesn't happen? That's over my brain. No.
Well, we've got to break it down. Okay, so
yeah.
the banking system collapses. Do you still go to work?
Nobody has access to the money.
Right. If people don't have access to their money and their employers can't pay them anymore, are they going to keep going to work for that
heck
crappy job?
No.
No.
Heck no.
Especially if they work for the power industry.
But the first thing that's going to happen, the very first thing that's going to happen with a financial collapse is the stores are not going to be able to get their stuff because they all work off debt too. They have their credit lines, which they pay their suppliers to get their supplies to the store, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's going to stop immediately, and then the stores will dry up.
So the stores are going to dry up. I think before that, there's going to be a bank run. People are going to run out of the banks to try to get everything they can out.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to seize up.
Literally not enough cash to give everybody the cash.
even $1.
And it's planned that way. So now everyone's short on cash. They're going to take whatever they have and try to use their credit cards and everything else, go to the stores.
Scenario 1, financial collapse. Scenario 1. That sounds horrible.
Oh, it is.
And that's not going to work because there's going to be no cash to back up their credit cards. I'm sure they're all going to shut down. Now they're going to turn to what? Ransacking and pillaging?
Well, nobody has any other alternative.
Barter and trade. How about barter and trade, you guys?
Well,
Let's
that's the thing.
think civil.
You and I.
That's the logical solution, and that's what we would hope people would do. But if you've seen any Black Friday sale, you know that is
African American Friday. Come on.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't understand.
No, if you've seen any of those sales, if you've seen any of the snowflakes after an election went opposite their way, they don't deal with things logically.
They don't have the
They deal
mindset.
with things emotionally, and they go nuts.
Okay.
And they don't have anything to trade.
Oh, that's
Right?
another
You got to have
problem.
something to barter with. I mean, okay, some of us have skills.
Right.
Some of us have gold and silver. Some of us maybe have a surplus of, I don't know, ammo or something like that.
I give a mean back massage.
Okay, I'll take one right now.
Let's wait until after the show.
No, right now.
So, but the problem's going to be is
Oh, yeah,
with a barter trade society, which I look forward to, What do you trade if you have nothing coming into the equation?
8 cows for a wife. I think that's the only
But
system I know.
you don't have either.
I don't have cows.
All you've got is a wife.
I've got a wife.
Are you going to trade your
I don't
wife
have an
away?
extra
No way.
one.
Is
I'm
she
not
listening?
trading her.
Okay. Is
Yeah.
she listening?
No way. Yeah. So what do you do at that point?
We need to bring polygamy back so we have extra wives to trade.
I know where this is going.
Okay, then what's the next thing that happens in a financial collapse after that?
All right. Okay. After the financial collapse.
So
let's see here. So, okay, you can't get your money out of the banks. People start looting. The government is going to come up with some other solution.
Yeah, they're
Whether
going
it
to
be
try
another
to implement another
currency
solution.
Or, maybe that's when they implement the new world currency, new world order's already here. It's really the
we
old
need to
world
have
order.
farms. We need farms.
Yes.
We need farms. We're getting our food from out of town.
Yep.
The supply chain's not going to bring us our food. Where are we going to get our food? We've turned it all into McDonald's.
We can't-
all the farmland into McDonald's.
But we can't just start planting then, when there's a collapse. Oh, we better start planting.
Yeah.
It's too late at that point.
It takes an entire growing season to get your food. So can you last 3 to 5
this
months?
is a
So,
lot
Jake, you
for
better
a-
start-
to take on for a Wednesday, you guys.
It's prepared
For a
Wednesday,
non-morning
right?
person, he's doing pretty well.
This is why I don't get up in the morning.
So, okay, let's jump to the next scenario.
All right,
Because
cool.
they're all going to get to the same point, and I think we'll round them all together.
Okay, financial
So-
collapse.
Okay, Jake, what's your
What do you
What's
think
your
is the
number
biggest
one or number
thing
two
that
or
would cause it?
Well, I think if any terrorist, forget nuclear weapons, drops an EMP, which you can, smuggle into places, an EMP in a few key places, they could wipe out our power grid, which means, credit cards don't work, banking information doesn't work. Like, you still can't get your money because nobody knows, you know what I mean? And you can't get, so once again, money doesn't work. It all comes down to money not working.
Unfortunately, it does.
Yeah, the economic system failing, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, EMP. What is an EMP? So, for the listeners that don't know what an EMP is,
Oh, so an EMP I learned about in Michael Crichton books,
Okay.
and basically these are things that will wipe it. So a nuclear weapon becomes an EMP basically because it wipes everything out with an explosion. But an EMP is a blast that wipes out all electronics. Now,
It's
this
an electrical charge
yes.
that goes out just like a radio wave.
Yes, and these can be man-made, but it can also come from the sun. They come from the sun all the
Bingo.
day
Thank you very
long,
much.
and it could hit us at any time, just and then we're wiped out.
Yep.
It takes the grid down, and that's the most vulnerable. Let's not talk about electronics or phones or anything like that, because that really doesn't matter at this point.
well, if there's no backbone support for those,
There-
it doesn't
exactly,
matter if they're
exactly.
affected or not because they're only going to work for a little while longer before they're obsolete anyways.
It doesn't matter if your car's run or not. Maybe you have some fuel stored at home, right? That you can, if your vehicle does survive. But how are you going to get gas pumped out of the tanks and underground? That's done with electricity. Sewer water gets pumped. With
And how
water,
does and if
with
everyone
electricity.
does bring their own little siphon pump over to there with a 21-foot hose, I'm telling you that so that you know how long a hose you need. Once those are empty, then how do you get fuel?
Exactly.
You better have your book on wood gasifiers and learn how to chop down a tree and make it into fuel to run your car
Or vegetable oil.
or vegetable
turning it
oil. I
into
mean,
a
there's
biodiesel of
other
some sort.
solutions and alternatives, but if
But
you
you've
try
gotta
to
be
do
set
that
up to do that now.
if you try to do that afterwards when there is no system to support it,
And you don't have the internet to look it up afterwards.
There you go,
That's my
exactly.
point.
Print it out now. Get a hard copy.
Wait,
Right-
you
right
can
then.
run a car on wood?
Yes, you can.
What? No way.
But you
Wednesday
have to-
morning, I just blew your mind. It basically it's a process of you're burning wood, and then you're taking the fumes off of the wood. It's gas,
Gasification, yeah.
and then you take that, and that'll actually power your engine. You have to convert it.
Kind of like a natural gas.
Yep.
So you have a fire burning in your car while you're
Like
driving?
in the back, you have to
Yeah.
like a truck. You have like a fire pit.
You have a little fire like
container
a
in the back of your vehicle. You can throw wood in
like
there.
a 55-gallon drum would be ideal, right? And it has a little feeding system where you throw a little more wood in there. It's like the old trains where the guy's shoveling coal the whole time. You just have somebody throwing a little log in every once in a while.
Finally, my kids have something to do on a road trip.
There
I'm
you
getting
go.
one of these wood-burning cars.
Jump online, figure it out now, print out the information, and get to work on it. Because when the grid goes down, you're done.
Yeah. If you don't have everything printed out, say goodbye.
I need
Well,
to get a wood-burning car.
Or just get a diesel and then a diesel vehicle, and then you can learn how to make your own biodiesel out of any kind of oil, really.
Really?
Any kind of vegetable oil, recycled oil, anything oil burns, and then you can refine it. And
well, then, but how do you get new oil?
You're just going to have to scrounge it up.
So eventually that's going to run out too.
Yeah, exactly.
Trees grow on their own. You just have to go harvest them.
You know, trees don't grow fast enough. We got to be real here. We need to start growing hemp.
There you go. Here's the other thing.
We agree on that.
When we have one of these disasters, how fast are people going to be falling off?
Falling off? Natural selection is going to be back with a vengeance within the first hour. People are going to start dropping like flies.
Anybody that's on life support now,
oh yeah,
unfortunately, I mean this is the dreary part of the conversation. Yeah. Anyone that's on major hospital care is not going to survive.
Well, we know stories from Katrina of hospitals losing power and generator power, and exactly this happening.
Infants
and so that is like the worst first wave of the issues that you're going to face, and that's the most depressing part of it too. But there's also the people who are going to get bacteria, disease, infections. Number one thing after an earthquake, cut feet.
Cut feet?
And those feet get infected because windows will shatter. People won't have their shoes on. They'll start running. Or they won't have proper footwear, and then they have to take those off because it hurts their feet even more. I mean, it's the number one issue is cut feet. And so if those are cut and you don't have anything to clean those, the infections become a major issue.
Survival medical.
So there you go, survival-medical.com. But the important thing is to make sure you've got as much prepared as you possibly can so you can get through that. Because if there's an earthquake here in Utah, you know, we always talk about the big one. You hear it all the freaking time on the news. Well, if they're expecting the big one, it's like freaking shut up about it. Nobody's preparing for it anyways, unless you're a prepper or prepper-minded, right? The rest of the people are still walking around like, oh, no, Taco Bell, I'm good. I'm happy.
Hey, I'm right here.
I eat Taco Bell all the time, so I'm halfway in that bucket.
So, quick tip, everybody take a good pair of walking shoes, put them in your car, and leave them there.
And put a set by your bed. Don't go to bed without a set of shoes right by your bed, because if something happens at night, throw your shoes on before you go running around.
Is there anywhere else to put them?
Oh, that's a good idea.
A lot of people will take their shoes and leave them by the front door because it's a shoe-free home.
That's what I do.
True, not me.
Always keep a pair under your bed, or not under your bed, but under your nightstand, right next to your bed.
Wow.
So you can get out of bed and not walk through broken glass.
That's a good tip.
Or debris. Yeah.
Absolutely. So
okay, cool. So grid going down, EMP.
Yeah.
Grid going down.
Financial collapse, EMP, what's yours?
Well, you took my favorite, which is EMP. So I'm going to throw out my next one, which is pandemic.
Okay. Yes.
You know, major virus. It could just be the flu. A flu strain so painfully stupid that it knocks us all out. Well, if everyone's getting sick and no one can go to work and no one can go, take care of all the other grid scenario requirements, those will all eventually fail because no one can get there, right? You think the rolling power outages in California that we've had in the 70s, 80s, and 90s were bad? Imagine people not showing up to work to keep those power systems running, and now they're gone. And that would affect the entire United States. And that's just if it's like a flu. If it's like Ebola, well, goodbye. So much of us. The flu. A lot of us will come back. But if it's a major pandemic, goodbye. And that disrupts supply chain. That disrupts banking. That disrupts everything. And we've seen the scenarios on movies where it's a zombie scenario, and they're like, oh yeah, one person was infected in Kansas, and they took a flight to New York, and now the whole world's dead. Like that's how fast they predict it. But I mean, if it's a sickness, this is
much worse.
Oh yeah, if it's a sickness, I mean it can go everywhere. We've got a caller. Let's see if we can bring this person on. Hey, thanks for calling K-Talk. You're on Prepper Talk Radio. Have you got a comment for our topic today?
Yeah, I'm actually just curious about what your feelings are. Maybe the top 10 places that you would recommend living in Utah with regards to preparation.
Preparation. That's a great question. Now, have you looked at have you looked at Joel Skousen's books?
No, I haven't.
Ooh, okay. Go look up Joel Skousen. He's got a book called Strategic Relocation. And I'm not even going to give you the top 10. I'm going to give you his number one. And it's down by Ephraim, down by what is that college down there?
In Utah, down there, Snow College.
Snow College.
Manti.
That valley between the mountain ranges, he says that is the best place to live in the entire United States for being a prepper. I've been down there. I've looked at it.
Beautiful.
It's pretty fertile.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good areas
of
to live
water.
down there.
Yeah.
My concern is if too many people read his
Still
book,
too
then
many
everyone's going to move there.
Yeah, exactly. I have my location, and I'm not going to tell you where my top location is because that's where I'm going, and I don't want anybody else there.
I have two top locations, and it's either one of these guys' basements.
Well, you know what? You're welcome, Jake. You're welcome.
I think that's a really good question. Thank you so much for your
That's
call.
a really good question. Let me, I guess, address a few little topics there without saying specific locations. The biggest danger along the Wasatch Front or anywhere is population.
Mm-hmm.
You need to find a place where there's fewer people, but still has resources, water, fertile, like Scott says, fertile.
Well, and I think
fertile
your biggest
land.
challenge, though, with that argument is that you're going to go so resource low without people that
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna create your own collapse for your little community.
Yep. You know,
And
one
that's
thing-
that's our music telling
yeah.
us we're out of time right now. We're going to be right back after this break. Remember, we're brought to you by Survival Medical, survivalmedical.com, and you're listening to Prepper Talk Radio here on KNRS. Well, welcome back to Prepper Talk Radio, brought to you by Survival-Medical, the only first aid kit tough for the nature. We love these guys. We carry their kits in our cars. It's very fantastic. And today we've got Jake Garn, former super host here at K-Talk.
Superstar.
He ran the stand-up commentary show.
Stand-up commentary was 6 to 8 p.m. It was right after, or right before Jim Kirkwood and right after Joe Carey back in the day.
Back in the day.
Back
That
in
was
the
just
day.
last year. The BT, right?
BT
Before
was
Trump.
before Trump. It was the good old days.
So let's not get into that. No.
So
But
today
anyway,
we're
from
talking about kind of the scenarios from an outside perspective, what to expect, and we're trying to have as much fun with it as possible. But you'll note that we're bringing up some ideas, different things that you need to think about and need to prepare about, and we're doing it in a fun way with Jake. We wanted to bring Jake on because he has a good outside perspective, but he also has a very humorous point of view that he brings up questions I never would have thought of, and so that's why we like facing this. So far, the three major issues that we've talked about that could affect the grid. Number one, we talked about a financial collapse. Number two, we talked about an EMP. And number three, we got into a pandemic. None of those have really fun flavors. I mean, it's all just crap.
Says
right?
you.
And historically, they're all a matter of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are a matter of time. It's like, is it going to happen before or after we die? It's the only question.
Now, and it also poses, goes into another topic, I guess you could say, is Shane, you kind of brought up that you want to live in an area with the least amount of people as possible. And I'm going to argue against that.
Okay.
So first, let's hear your argument for that, and then I'll give you my argument against that, and then we'll go to Jake to get the commentary on what he thinks is best.
Cool. So, according to Joel Skousen, also preaches this, as well as some other authors as well, being in a more remote, but still in a community, not just completely remote by yourself, but still somewhat near a community where you can still barter, you can still be around other people and take advantage of their resources, but far enough from a major population like the Wasatch Front to where technically it's best to be further than a single gas tank. If they can get there on a single gas tank, you're too close.
Ooh.
So I look at it this way: if it's a single gas tank and a day of walking, you're still too close. So it sounds kind of like my original perception of what you're saying and what you're actually saying is a little different. You said as few people as possible. Now you're saying a smaller community. What do you mean?
Well, as few people as possible. I guess what I mean that way is like I said, is still having a community nearby within walking distance, but being somewhat remote yourself. I mean, and I don't want to get too specific into where I'm planning on going, but there are neighbors that have 40-acre plots, 160-acre plots with a single family on them. So it's still quite spread out, ability to farm and even raise cattle and whatever, but still to where you could walk to the town center with 7 miles or so.
Okay.
There and back within easily within a day.
See, I'm more in the lines of small communities and not being that far out. Because if you're that far out and something happens in town, you don't know about it. If you're that far out and something, there's a major win-win for everybody, you don't know about it. The other issue is if it's too small of a town, they're going to be affected with medical issues as well. And if that happens to that town and it ravages that town, now you've got, 15 people left?
Short on resources?
You're short on everything. You can't have a proper security detail. You can't have a proper educational system.
So what's your ideal
create
situation,
as a city.
location?
I like small towns. I want to be part of that small town.
So like small town, like 200, 300, 400 population? What are you thinking?
No, like 3,000.
Oh, okay.
3,000 people.
See, I'm thinking more 300, and you're thinking more 3,000.
Yeah, I think 3,000 because, if you just look at the plain numbers of it, if people get sick and there is no grid, there is no hospital system, you're doing the best you can with what you have because maybe you did and maybe you didn't stock up on resources, right? Most likely the town didn't. You're still going to have a mass casualty fall off. If there's an EMP, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, I got to get out of here. I got to get to where my family is. You're still going to lose people. So I think 3,000 is kind of an ideal scenario, maybe up to 10,000 max. That's a smaller community for me that makes sense.
As long as they have enough bullets for everyone in the town. I guess
Gosh.
Jake, tell us your take. What are you thinking?
Wow. So I kind of want to. Wow. This is. I realize it's going to be a very boring world post-apocalyptic, and I want to start storing some entertainment.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Because, if you're not, everyone's going to, what are we going to do? Like, I'm thinking, I do kind of want people around because I'd get lonely. You know what I mean? So
That's why I want you to come to my house, Jake, because you're the entertainment.
Yeah, but who's going to entertain him is the problem.
Yeah,
I'm not good enough?
Oh, well.
Apparently not, because he said he's still looking for it. Neither of us are.
To come to my place.
I mean, if it's the right three people, that's all we need, right? Like, if it's the right three people.
If it were just us three, I'd be screwed. I would hate my life. I love you guys, but I would hate my life. Look,
well, yeah.
There's no procreation anymore.
Oh.
That's a major issue for me, right? There's
kids.
The too many males in one area creates disharmony. It creates problems.
We need a woman.
We need
at least three women.
Yeah, we need three women.
Jerusalem.
Okay, so let's
Ishmael's daughters.
Okay, so this is a fun question then. After an apocalyptic scenario, let's jump into the movies because I know that you're the entertainment guy. What kind of car would you drive if you were in a Mel Gibson or Tom Hardy Mad Max scenario?
So you have the choice of all the cars?
Yeah, what would you be driving if you were in that group?
Well, gosh, that is a good question because I'd probably, as long as the gas pumps still work, you could still use I'd probably just grab a Ferrari and just start zooming up and down the streets, but that'd just be impractical.
Your streets aren't going to be maintained, right? They're going to get too rough.
Just at first.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then he'll trade up.
Get it out of the system.
Or
that's true.
Trade up to something with some clearance.
As long as you don't kill yourself, right?
Yeah, and then I'd probably, I don't know, what do we got to look for? I mean, I've got to be driving on the mountain ranges. Probably a Land Rover. Probably. You got to get a Land.
There you go. I just wanted to ask that question because I thought of it this morning when I was getting ready. I was like, Jake would be fun to ask this question too. So
I know what I'm driving.
What are you driving?
My 4Runner.
4Runner?
The 4Runner's awesome.
It's of course I can go on for hours about it, but for me it's ideal because I can take all 7 of us in the 4Runner because I got the jump seats, and I built it so it's excellent on the road. It can handle the bumps, it can handle the corners, and it can handle a lot of weight off road.
We're gonna need horses.
You have to come see it. But yes.
We're going to need horses, you guys.
Well, eventually, yeah.
So
or just your feet. Good footwear. Good shoes.
Good shoes. Okay, there you go. Okay, after one of these grid down scenarios, after one of these major issues, what are you going to do for shoes?
What am I going to do?
What are you going to do for shoes?
I've had the same pair of shoes for like 4 years, so I got another 4 years before I have to think about that.
So you must not walk much.
What? I walk. I just get
from your
shoes.
Car to your door and you
go.
Take your shoes off.
No.
To Taco Bell.
My wife gives me a piggyback ride from the car to the door. How dare you?
I think that's one of the things people forget about is footwear. Foot care and footwear is totally forgotten about. You know, I've got a couple different pairs of boots. I wear boots most of the time just because they're more rugged, and they last longer than if I were to just buy shoes. But I've got backups and backups of boots.
You guys have You guys have food storage for your shoes? I mean, shoe storage for your food. Storage?
I have shoe storage.
You have shoe storage.
And my old shoes that I don't wear anymore, I still keep those so they're my backups to my backups.
Well, those become my work boots.
Yeah, they come
The
work boots,
shoes.
and then.
If I'm painting, if I'm doing yard work, those I wear the older shoes.
But here's also something you need to do. You need to, which I'm not good at right now. I need to take my boots off, take my shoes off, go walk in the rocks, so I can start to build calluses, and so I can eventually do some work.
Or start
just
walking on the sidewalk for
or
a
just
little
walking
while.
on.
Start soft. You don't put the heaviest grit on right away. You know, work up to it.
One time, and I'm not even kidding, 2 years ago, I went through a little phase. I decided I did a 1.5 mile hike up a rocky mountain barefoot.
Barefoot.
Because I stepped on a cactus.
Ouch.
I realized it's a horrible idea.
Prepare for it, you just went for it.
Yeah.
You just did it.
Yeah, and you know what I realized? It was a terrible idea.
Terrible idea. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So, speaking of terrible ideas, if the grid goes down, how are you going to start a fire?
I have no idea. I've been wondering this for a while. I have lighters. Lighters still work when the electricity's out.
Oh, yeah.
Lighters
That's fantastic. That's your best go-to.
Yeah.
Okay, what if your lighters are, say some moron steps on your lighter and breaks it?
Then what am I going to do?
Then what are you going to do?
I'm going to check his pocket for a lighter after I kill him. This is Wild West rules, right? We can do whatever we want. No,
Apparently.
No, exactly. I don't know. I am completely reliant on modern conveniences for a fire. Can you guys start fires without things?
With my bare hands.
You can start fire with your bare hand?
Friction method. So
I'll bet the ladies like that.
Let's make Shane expound on what he means there, so that our listeners aren't going. You can start.
Well, obviously
fire
it takes
magically?
knowledge. Exactly. Have you seen those movies? No. It obviously takes more knowledge than just having your two hands and the ability to do it. You know, you have to know which wood to select, how to cut that wood.
Well, explain what it is you're talking about, like a hand drill or a bow drill,
like a hand drill or a bow drill fire.
Right.
Yeah, they're not easy. It's have a bunch of lighters. Like I said, your lighters should be your go-to, and then I have 50 other backup lighters. Not even joking.
You have 50 backup
At least
lighters?
50 backup lighters in my storage.
I don't even know any stoners with that many lighters.
See, I've got a few.
Too.
I've got a few lighters. I've got matches. I've got waterproof matches. I've got strike anywhere matches. I've also got a couple different ferro rods and flint and steels. Mm-hmm. And I just took my Mora knife and I actually just modified it because the back of the blade, the ridge is rounded, so you can't use it on a ferro rod.
It doesn't strike very well. You can, but it's hard.
You can't. It's rounded. There's no straight edge.
Yeah, there's
so
no straight edge.
I've ground it off.
Like
And I've ground it off, and I've used that, and it's my favorite now. It's now my favorite fire starter. That thing produces
I gave him the knife.
some sparks.
You gave him the knife?
He did. And for the money, I think that is the best
Oh, yeah.
knife.
What is this
for
called?
the dollar.
What
It's
kind
called
of
a Mora knife. Morakniv. Mora Kniv.
Mora
It's out of
Kniv.
Sweden.
Yeah.
Mora. Just Mora Kniv. It's just a budget.
No E on that. Just V.
No E. Just
Mora knife.
Mora Kniv. It's
Mora
just
Kniv.
a budget survival knife made in Sweden, and it's fantastic quality for $12, $15.
Yeah.
So everybody should have one of those. Jake, you need to get one. Put it in your car. Put it in your.
You guys are prepared. How much toilet paper do each of you have?
On my shelves right now, no less than 4 months.
4 months of toilet paper. See, that's what I'm telling my wife.
And I have 4
7
daughters
people.
and my wife
4 months.
And a son.
and then my son.
Don't forget your son. He'll
yeah,
be sad
we
if
don't
you
use
forget
much.
him.
How many rolls is that? 4 months. Translate
Well, 4
into
months.
rolls.
That is 36 times 4.
See, I've got about 40 rolls in my house.
We do about the super big packs, one a month.
But I have 2 backup systems for when the the rolls
backup
are gone.
Yeah.
You have backup toilet paper systems?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me about those.
So one is simply a bleach bucket. So
Right.
everybody gets their own rag,
Yeah.
and you've got a bleach bucket that you clean it off in, you dry it off, but you keep track of your rags. So all the rags that we've created for it, they're soft, they're nice, they're beautiful, and they're different colors. And so I'm blue. My wife's got hers. She's got purple and pink and other colors and patterns. And we've got all these different kinds of uses of them. But then there's also the kind of the bidet idea. We've got portable bidets, just little squirt systems.
You guys have multiple backups for toilet paper. You guys have thought of
Sanitation
everything.
and hygiene is extremely important.
Do you want crap on your crack
No.
after the apocalypse?
Or your hands?
Or no.
The chafing, the stench. Just the other day, my wife and I were at Walmart buying some stuff, and unfortunately the clerk was the most foul-smelling person, BO and BM stench, and he had to reach over to help us with the self-checkout. And my wife, she's pregnant, she almost vomited because of his smell. Now, in a post-apocalyptic scenario,
everybody,
you and all your friends are going to smell that way, whereas my family and friends are going to smell like a beautiful forest.
I need to get the forest system.
Like Irish Spring.
I mean, and there's methods you can use to help, clean up afterwards. So you can do the crap on a stick method. You can do the scoop and spread method. The smear method. Where you're actually literally using your hand, and then you wipe it on a south-facing rock or fence or tree, and that way the sun will actually decompose that and kill the bacteria. But then you still
what do you do with your hand?
You go wash it.
Okay.
And you never shake someone's hand with that hand. That's
your left hand. You shake with your right hand.
That's why we shake with our right hand and not with our left. Our left was used for other things.
That's real?
That's where that came from.
People have been doing this for thousands of years before us, Jake.
Before we thought we got smart and decided to use toilet paper, there were other methods.
Oh, my gosh. I had no idea there was so much to think about, but you guys are geniuses.
We're not.
We're just scratching the surface.
This is prepping, not even 101. This is like sub 101, prepping 100. And if you come to PrepperCon, you'll learn all this stuff. We're going to have almost...
Or just listen to the show, too.
Yeah, we're going to have almost 80 classes available. So tune into Prepper Talk Radio every week. Get out to PrepperCon April 21st and 22nd. We've got a ton of resources that are going to be there. Vendors galore. Shane and I will both be there. Come get your pictures with us. Meet us. Let us know that you're listeners.
If you really want to.
We love what we do. We do this for a reason. We do this for a reason. We're wrapping it up. We're out of time. I just heard the radio's cutting us off. So
thanks for coming, Jake. It was a lot of fun.
Jake. Thank you for listening to Prepper Talk Radio, and here's back to your normal broadcasting.
Fulmer, we come from a proud tradition of Utah fighters.